Hello and welcome. This will be my first race weekend in my new Legends car at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And as you can see, it's starting off wet. The first race was in the rain. The second race, it was in the rain, and heavier rain at that. This is the first time I've driven a Legends car in the wet, really. I did a test day earlier this year at Thompson. It was mildly wet for the first session in the morning. It really wasn't anything like this. So here I am, trial by fire, out with, I think we had about 30 cars on the racetrack. And we're on the rain tires, of course. Trying to find grip. This is like nothing I've ever driven before. There's so little grip in the car, and you have to drive so far off the racing line compared to what I'm used to in the Formula V. It was just an incredible experience. Absolutely tiptoeing everywhere on this racetrack, trying to find some form of grip, short shifting, being cautious, and just letting the race kind of come to me. So in this session, I actually finished third in my class, and I think it was ninth overall. So I'm running semi-pro in Legends cars. There's multiple different classes. The Young Lions, which are kids that I believe are 15 and younger or 16 and younger. There's the Masters class, which is ages 40 and older. And then the Semi-Pro, which is what everybody starts off in. And then the Pro Series, which I think you get bumped up to if you score enough points. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but next month I qualify for the Masters, being 40 years old, so I think I'm just going to that. And I won't have to worry about messing around with the pros. How about that? So you can see I'm just absolutely sawing at the wheel, being extremely ginger on the gas pedal, short shifting, trying to control the RPMs, staying way off the racing line. You basically have to drift through the racing line and then get up to where you wouldn't normally be to find any grip. That was a mess of a moment there. Basically full lock, full opposite lock, just to try to keep the car straight. It's more like driving a boat than a race car. And these rain tires are awful. They are 20 seconds. We're going about 20 seconds a lap slower in these wet conditions, just because the tire has no grip. And you can even hear the engine rev to the moon. Not that lap, but when you cross over the start-finish line, because the entire start-finish line for about 10 or 15 feet of it is a painted surface, the rear wheels just spin and the engine will rev to the moon. So you really have to lift an extreme amount just to cross the start-finish line in a straight line. That corner was awful. That new pavement on the left-hand side is garbage. You can't drive on it. You basically just slide past it up to the high line where you have some grip. Wheels spinning all the way up the hill. So this being my first ever race in a Legends car, well, it's not really my first race in Legends car. I did rent a car last year, and I raced at Thompson Motor Speedway. My first ever race in my Legends car, first race at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and the first race in the rain. I'm not exactly sure where the line is, and in that bowl corner, the line apparently was to stay just at the very top all the way around, and you had grip, which I learned a little later, maybe in this session, but in the next session I definitely started taking that line. So this part of the race is kind of boring, so I've sped things up here. Not really gaining any positions. The car in front of me had gone off there in turn 1, so now he's behind me. That's one more position, but there's nobody really around me. I slowed it down again because Trevor Kraus, amazing driver, just he had an issue where he had to start from the pits, or he had to go to the pits. I don't remember what it was, but he was well behind me and caught right up to me and just drove past me like I was standing still. He's been doing this for a long time. He's a pro driver. Absolute animal on the racetrack. You can see he's just got all the grip. He knows what he's doing. He's pulling away from me like a madman. And I just don't have it quite figured out yet in these conditions anyway. So this is the last lap. Coming around to the checkered flag. We'll end this first race. And I included this clip here because this is qualifying for race number 2, which I'm not including any footage of, but you can see the rain actually got worse throughout the day, and it's like a monsoon out there right now. So driving out to get on track for qualifying, and it's just pouring buckets. And there's huge puddles and rivers going across the track. Of course, we're on full wet tires, so it's not easy, but at least the wet tires allow the water clearing to happen when you have to go through those larger puddles. And you'll see as we come down the hill here, there's a giant river puddle right there, splashed right through it. Another one right there coming into this corner. Just water splashing all over. So we're going to skip right ahead to race 3. In race 2, I had some issues. My bumper actually fell off, believe it or not. So these cars rattle themselves apart. I'm learning the car. I'm learning how to drive it. I'm learning how to maintain it and what nuts and bolts to check. So I've checked so many things, but I never checked the bumper. Bumper falls off the race car. I get a call on the radio because we're using receivers. I got to come in because you can't continue if you have a bumper that's off the car or don't have a bumper on the car. So I had to come in for that, and I had some other minor issues during that race anyway, so it wasn't a big deal. By minor issues, I mean some other problems with the car that were happening. So this is race number 3. This is Sunday morning. So I qualified, was it 2nd or 3rd in my class starting this race. So I had a decent qualifier. And this being my first race weekend, we're trying some things with the car, trying to figure out what does what, and make some changes. And I'm not afraid to make big changes. We actually went really, really soft on the spring package, and then really, really, really hard on the spring package. I just wanted to min and max things and feel what those things were doing. Also, you might have noticed that I have a different shifter in this race from the start of the video. I actually broke the shift knob in one of the practices, or it's wasn't actually the knob, it was the metal shifter shaft from Legend's car broke. The threaded end came out, so my shifter just fell on the ground, and I had to come in. So no big deal, didn't hurt anything. So I had to go get a Go Motorsports shifter. Luckily the dealer is at the track. Go Motorsports has everything in the trailer. I purchased a lot of parts from them over the weekend. So you can see the other drivers are kind of pulling away from me. Like I said, we made some setup changes, and it kind of went the wrong way. It was better in some aspects and worse in others. You know, I'm getting happier with the car, and I'm figuring out what changes do what and how it feels in the car. But this race we qualified well, and then we kind of went backwards a little bit here. And in the following race, race number 4, we took another step in the wrong direction. In fact, so this race was going okay, but I had a lot of pressure from behind because, like I said, we're not going as well as we did in qualifying. I'm still new, I'm still learning a lot about the car and how to race it. But right here on my left-hand side, I'm going to get tapped from behind, and that's going to send me for a loop. So luckily, everybody was able to avoid that. Avoid me, I should say. But we'll show you in a slow-mo replay here. I got my eyes for it. This car is coming up on my left-hand side, and he just is barely overlapped with me, and we're going through this S section where my car is naturally going to move to the left, because it's basically a straight line through these S's. So I can't get the car started. I didn't know this at the time, but when you spin a Legends car around backwards, because they run on motorcycle engines, the starter implodes unless you push the clutch in. So somebody told me that you got to push one of the pedals as hard as you can. It doesn't matter which one. You can either press the gas and continue spinning the tires so you don't roll backwards. You can press the brakes and lock them up completely, shut the engine off, or you can press the clutch in. So either pedal, you got to pick one, press it as hard as you can. Otherwise you explode your starter. So that was a starter that I had to buy from Go Motorsports. Luckily, like I said, they have everything at the track. I was able to get that, put that in the car, and keep going. But I had to get towed off, and that was race over for race number 3. Lesson learned. Again, I'm very new to these cars. Still learning a lot about them. Had no idea that was a thing. So this is race number 4, which again, we made a setup change. I actually lowered the rear end for this race, thinking it would give me a little bit more drive off the corner. And it might have done that, but it also gave me a lot of instability on the entry. So I was fighting the car a lot more. It was also the end of the long weekend. I had done a test day on Friday, you know, rain all day Saturday, and now this is the last session on Sunday. And unlike Formula V in the SCCA, where you go out twice a day, we're going out 6 times a day in these cars. So all day long, I'm either in the car or getting out of the car and putting fuel in it, doing a nut and bolt check as fast as I can, torquing the wheels, and then basically getting suited up to go back in the car, if you even take your driver's suit off. So these are just really long days for me. Now being, you know, coming up on 40 years old, I'm 39 right now. I'm used to the Formula V SCCA pace, where you have hours in between sessions. You can really cool down, take a break, talk to your buddies. And this is just a constant thrash all day long, which I enjoyed, but it's just something I'm gonna prepare myself better for next time. And hopefully we don't have as many issues next time either. So this is a pretty fun little race, even though I was a little bit off the pace. I'm sticking kind of to the back of this group, and they start battling each other, which kind of helps me out. I'm getting past here by the 00. But he gets up to that group, and they're battling each other. I'm just taking it easy. I want to finish the race, score some points, put the car and the trailer in one piece. But I had a lot of fun over the weekend, and I can't thank everybody who helped me out enough. John Vandekar and Christian showed up, some Formula V friends of mine, to help out and hang around. And my wife, of course, she always helps make sure that I drink enough and eat enough, and watches the puppy while I'm out racing and playing race car driver. And of course my sponsors, who I just couldn't do this without. iRacing, who is a great employer and title sponsor for the car in the season for me. I love iRacing. I've been doing it well before I ever worked there. Great simulator, great platform to learn how to drive fast. And I did a lot of testing in iRacing getting ready for this, and that's why I came out as fast as I am. I mean, most people don't get in a car like this and just go this speed. Also, Go Motorsports. Go Motorsports, amazing Legends car dealer. They were at the track. They answered all of my questions. They even had a guy help me change some springs and make some setup changes to the car. And when I ran into trouble, they had every single part that I needed, and I needed a few of them over the weekend. We replaced the radiator in the car, we replaced the starter motor in the car, like I said. The shifter broke. I had to replace that. There was just miscellaneous. Oh, the bumper fell off, and I ended up getting the bumper back. Funny story, but I ended up buying one from Go Motorsports anyway, and just bolting another one on the car because I wasn't sure where that bumper had went. But the track workers brought it back later in the day. So, thanks everybody who helped out. I'm going to stop talking now and let you guys enjoy the rest of this race in silence. So. I will be at Thompson Motor Speedway in a couple of weekends from now, and I'll be shooting another video of Legends Car Racing that I'll share on YouTube. So, thanks for watching.